The Cessna A-37 Dragonfly, or Super Tweet, was an American light attack aircraft developed from the T-37 Tweet basic trainer in the 1960s and 1970s by Cessna Aircraft of Wichita, Kansas. The A-37 was introduced during the Vietnam War and remained in peacetime service afterwards. In 1963, the Air Force awarded a contract to Cessna for two prototype YAT-37D aircraft. The first prototype flew in October of 1964. The changes made to the basic T-37 airframe included stronger wings, underwing ordinance pylons, wingtip fuel tanks, a 7.62 mm Gatling gun, and an in-flight refueling probe. In August of 1967, 25 A-37s were sent to Vietnam for combat evaluation. A total of 577 Dragonflies were built between 1963 and 1975. After the Vietnam War, the United States Air Force passed their A-37Bs from Tactical Air Command to units in the Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve. The A-37Bs were eventually phased out in the 1980s and 90s and replaced by the Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II. The aircraft at the Maps Air Museum was constructed as a T-37A by Cessna Aircraft in Wichita, Kansas. It was delivered to the United States Air Force on April 30, 1956, with serial number 54-2732. It was temporarily retained by Cessna for conversion to a JT-37A. In December of 1958, 54-2732 was assigned to the 3306 Pilot Training Group at Bainbridge Air Force Base in Georgia. It was converted to a T-37B at that location. In January of 1991, it was transferred to the 3525th Pilot Training Wing at Williams Air Force Base in Arizona. In March of 1967, the aircraft was returned to Cessna. In August of 1968, 54-2732 was dropped from the Air Force inventory and transferred to museum status, then assigned to the Florida Military Aviation Museum at St. Petersburg, Florida. When the museum closed a few years later, the aircraft was disassembled and sent to a swampy field south of Winter Haven, Florida. The aircraft arrived at MAPS on December 16, 2006 for assembly, painting, and display. This aircraft is a T-37B, serial number 54-2732. It was rebuilt in February of 2022 and converted to resemble an A-37B Dragonfly attack aircraft. It is painted and marked as an A-37B that was assigned to the 757th Special Operations Squadron of the 910th Special Operations Group while based at Youngstown Air Reserve Station. The aircraft is on loan from the National Museum of the United States Air Force.